Hello, everybody. Anyone who's joining us live, I am here with somebody very, very special. I'm here with Elyse with that beautiful smile. Elyse, thank you so much for coming on today. And Elyse has just, I wouldn't say finished is the word, but she's just completed really a journey with me, right, Elyse? And she's been on a journey with me for what, like 3, 4 months now, and came to me because she had some problems that she wanted to solve. And so it's been such a beautiful experience for me to coach you, and hopefully for you as well, to be in partnership with you, and to work with you, Elyse, showing up as your beautiful, authentic, gorgeous self, as women, in my community do. So what I wanted to do is just take this opportunity to share with my community really how this approach, or my approach, to getting into shape, to dealing with sort of health issues and getting into shape, is very unique and very different, I would say, to most of what's out there. But it's better if that comes from you rather than from me. So I wondered if you, first off, hello, say hi to everybody.
Hi, everyone.
Yeah, and we've got a little bit, by the way, everyone, we've got a little bit of, I was saying to Elyse just before we started, we've got a tiny little bit of feedback on Elyse's audio. So I'm hoping it's not going to bother you. We tried to sort of fix it, but I just sort of want to apologize ahead of time if any of you go, wait, there's Elyse can't hear it, but I can. So I'm hoping that you can't. Maybe it's my computer. So Elyse, welcome. It is lovely to have you here. And we are going to be chatting about your beautiful transformation from working with me for the last 4 months. And I would love to dive in by asking you how you felt prior to working with me, kind of almost like sort of what drew you to wanting to work with me, but what it was like before, like 4 months prior to today.
Well, first of all, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Coach Sophie, for having me. I just so appreciate you. And the minute I first saw you, I knew that this is where I belong. And how I was feeling before was hopeless. Um, we had just been coming out of COVID and everything that went with that. And I had lost their family and friend loss through COVID. And I had gained weight during that time. And the great thing that I did have, I have a really deep spiritual practice, and I also practice Qigong. I'm in a virtual dojo, so I'm in the dojo practicing Qigong about 4 days a week. So that was my anchor. But despite that, I needed more, and I was feeling hopeless. And so I was looking at so many things, especially things, that pop up online and in Facebook or Instagram about weight loss and things for hormones and things for your blood type and things for this and things for that. And it can be so much. It can be just overwhelming. And I wasn't feeling comfortable in my body, and I wasn't moving my body other than Qigong and taking walks. I wasn't moving my body very often because I was feeling sad and because I was feeling grief. And my mom had recently passed too before I found you, Coach Sophie, so that was all fresh. So I just felt a heaviness in spirit. I still felt grateful for life and everything that it brought me, but I was feeling heavy in body and mind.
Yeah.
And so one day I was on Instagram and your beautiful face popped up in a reel. And I'd never seen you before anywhere pop up on my Instagram feed at all. And so I clicked on it, and honestly, I felt it instantly, Coach Sophie. I felt that connection. And I felt, and the first thing I said was, thank you, God. I said, thank you, God. This is where I need to be. And so I signed up for an interview with you right away, because everything that you said, I just immediately could embrace and embody for myself. And I was looking for ways to release excess weight. And I was actually starting to feel that I wanted to have a more plant-based life. And I thought, well, here it is. It's just been given to me. And that's why I've always felt and said to you that you were my answered prayer. But then when I did get in your program, what I got was so much more, just so much more in body, mind, and spirit. And it was just truly the best thing that I've done for myself. And I had also just turned 62. And that was heavy for me too. Not because I'm afraid of the age, because I'm all about ageless mobility, and it's just a number. So I'm not saying about the age, the number, but how I felt in my body. I'm like, I don't look 62, whatever that looks like. I don't feel 62, whatever that looks like. So something's out of alignment here. Something's off. I'm not feeling good in my body. So, Coach Sophie, then when I found you and we had our interview, I just felt already before we even started the modules, I felt lighter in body, mind, and spirit.
Yeah.
Because I felt like I had a place to finally land and get help.
Isn't it beautiful how, we as women, Elyse, and I really think that women when we go into menopause, the beauty of going into menopause, I believe, when we take away all the negative narratives and stories about it, which, as you know from me, you know a lot about the stories and narratives and the meaning making from working with me. But when we take that away, it's an incredible opportunity, because I think we access a way deeper level of wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
And I also really believe, because we've been around the block a few times, right? And we have really good detectors if we allow ourselves for what is real, for what is right, and what is true, basically. And I think, as you said, Elyse, in a world where there's so much thrown at you, all the misinformation and disinformation and sort of the quick fixes, sort of seemingly well-meaning, balance your hormones, maybe go over here or do this or do that. I think what I want to encourage women to do is exactly what you did, because you had this spiritual practice and you were really connected, very heart-centered. And what I really want to encourage everyone out there to do is to really stay connected to your heart and your intuition when it comes to what you're looking for, the help that you're looking for. And that's exactly what you did, Elyse. And I love, Elyse, that you said, I was looking for something, which you were, and you had been through the grief and currently going through. I think that's so common for women of our age. When we're in our 50s and 60s, we are going to be losing loved ones. Right. So we're going through the grief and the stress. And so I love that simplicity of, like, you just almost asked, look, I'm looking for something to help release the weight, emotional weight, and the physical weight as well. And then quite a lot of women say to me, then I just sort of popped in and they're like, wait a minute. But I really love that you resonated immediately, and that makes my heart happy, because I don't know, I think there's just so much that certainly I don't resonate with really out there, but when it's right, it's right. So then you came in and you said you started working with me, and as you said, I interviewed you, which I do because I am very picky who I work with, very picky, because Elyse, on my watch, I will settle for nothing less than complete transformation, outside of the other side of this journey that I take you on. And I knew you were up for that. I immediately connected with you. I knew that you were somebody who was going to be all in and do the inner work. So, because as you know this, and if anyone who's watching, if you don't know what the journey that I take women on is not a diet, right? It is not. Yes, you're going to learn to eat lots of beautiful plant-based foods, and you will release your weight. Let's actually even get to that straight off the bat. How much weight did you release in 15 weeks, Elyse?
Right now, Coach Sophie, 30 pounds.
30 pounds, ladies.
Yes.
So that happens, but which congratulations, that's fantastic. But as Elyse said, it's so much more. So Elyse, what I would love to know is, when was that sort of magic moment for you when you realized how far into the journey, or when was it that you realized, wait, this is way more than just changing the way I eat? Did you have a moment that you were like a sort of wow moment?
I did, Coach Sophie, and it's the one that I shared about the blender overflowing in the coaching call. May I tell that again?
Yes, please do. It was beautiful.
Okay. Oh, thank you, because that was my real moment. And so one of the main tenets of Coach Sophie's program is we make a beautiful smoothie every day. And it's loaded with vegetables and proteins and fruits and whatever actually we want to put in it. It's just chock full of health and protein, and it's delicious. And what's fun about it is we have basic powders and things that we put in it every day for health, but otherwise you are free to create and make these beautiful smoothies. And so one day I was making my smoothie, and then afterwards I always in the blender, and then I just pour the smoothie and then wash the blender with soap and water, and then put that on the blender, and so that it does the washing for me of the blender. And so one day I had it full of hot soapy water, and I didn't put the lid on tightly enough. And then I turn my head, and the next thing I know, I have a lava flow on my counter, running down the front of the cabinets onto the floor of white soapy water everywhere. And so I ran across the kitchen and, turned it off. And I said something unkind to myself. And I called myself a dumbass because I wasn't paying attention. I let that happen. And I went, oh, I'm such a dumbass. Look at this mess. And then instantly I went, like I felt myself gasp. And I said, oh my goodness. I can't believe that I'm talking to myself that way, especially after the self-love that is the foundation of Coach Sophie's program. It's about self-love and meeting ourselves wherever we are on our journey with love and kindness and compassion. And here I said that about myself. But I instantly, and this is part of what we learn, I instantly reframed that. And I didn't stay in it and say, oh, I'm this, I'm that, blah, blah, blah. I just instantly reframed it. And the first thing I said was, well, at least that was the hot soapy water, because now my cabinets are getting clean and my floor is getting clean, and I'm so grateful that that wasn't the smoothie itself. But then after that is when I really had the moment of transformation. And I use one of the tools that Coach Sophie teaches us, which I so love, and it has just helped me in my transformation. And it's a question. So I said this thing about myself, but what else is true? What else is true about me? First of all, I'm not a dumbass. It's just soapy water. What else could be true? What else could be true? And it's like peeling away the layers of an onion. And I just kept asking myself that. And I kept getting more and more and more back home to my heart, and feeling heart-centered and feeling free and feeling happy that that was an untruth. And I'm not that, but this is what I am. And then I just started to just have this download of all these things about myself that are loving and kind and affirmative, life affirming and positive and joyful. And I was standing in my kitchen declaring this. These were statements that they were proclamations, incantations, just pouring out of me. And I was standing in my kitchen with my arms out, looking up in the sky and just saying all these beautiful things about myself that were what are really true about me. And I was crying and I had the tears streaming. And that was my moment when I felt my alignment with myself. And I was so grateful. And I told Coach Sophie that on one of our coaching calls that we have, because it was that powerful for me.
Yeah. Wow. You just, and that was so beautiful, that sort of that beautiful moment, that the Vitamix moment that we'll always remember. And as you said, thank goodness it was the soapy bubbles. It could have been like blueberries and beets. Can you imagine if you had beets in it and it would have stained your cabinets if they're white? I have been there before many times with my blenders, various blenders. But I think what was so beautiful, Elyse, was that was the culmination of everything, all the tools that you had been learning for weeks and embodying. And then there was that moment where this is a journey of becoming more and more aware, isn't it? Aware of what I teach everybody. And Elyse has really, been doing this very, very deep inner work, is having this mindfulness and having this awareness of the way that we criticize ourselves, the way that we talk to ourselves, the stories that we tell about ourselves, and how it's very, very subtle and has us, we diminish ourselves, we play small. And so it's so beautiful that you're taking all these tools simultaneously to the strategy that you were doing of moving your body and the nutritional strategy that I give you. And so it's all of this, how it all works together, and how beautiful that what really came through in what you just shared now, Elyse, and this is really what the message that I wanted to give to everybody today is: this is a journey of self-love. You said it. This is a journey of self-love. It is not denial. It is a beautiful demonstration of love. It is not punishment. It is nourishment. And every part of this journey, which makes it so different from anything else out there, is that that's really what we're doing. And who would have thought, right, that Elyse, who released up to this point 30 pounds in a very, very short amount of time, has done this through loving herself? Not through doing a diet, not through doing any hard, like, oh, I've got to do a meal plan or log my calories or track my calories on an app every day and agonize, because that's just something out there that eventually just keeps you locked in this very damaging and very deleterious and unkind mindset that is so deeply unhelpful. So Elyse, just finishing up, because I know we've got about 5 minutes left. And so I want to ask you, what would you say? And I know it's hard to say this in just like a few minutes, but what would you say are the most powerful or the biggest transformations that you've experienced, or changes, I should say, that you've experienced in yourself to date?
Coach Sophie, I'm going to use a Daniel Day-Lewis movie title, but I'm going to make it for myself. I feel a lightness of being now. His movie is The Unbearable Lightness of Being, but for me, it is joyful, joyous, transformational lightness of being in body, mind, and spirit. I feel like I move my body gracefully now. And just, and my clothes are, of course, the things like my clothes are too big and things like that. My jewelry's too big, my shoes are too big. And I love all those kind of things because those are actual physical demonstrations. But that is just the cherry on the sundae to the internal lightness of being that I feel. And I feel sometimes when there's negativity around me, I try not to bring negativity upon myself, but of course we live in a world where it's everywhere. And I've really learned to not take it on, honestly. And that means all the difference, even in my home. Even if my husband says something, oh, there's a rainbow on my forehead. Oh, look, right there. um, I love that. See the lightness of being, it's right there. But even when just little tiny annoyances that would have bothered me or been a thorn in my paw or something, you're like, oh no, there's nothing to that. We're all just being who we are in this moment. And and for me, I just meet myself where I am in that moment, whether I am grieving or whether I'm annoyed or whether I'm frustrated. I'm like, oh, okay, I know what to do with this. And through the tools that you've taught, I feel so much lighter in body, mind, and spirit. There's more of a spring in my step. Even when I get in and out of my car, I feel it. And I'm like, oh, look how I'm getting out of my car. Oh, this is neat. And that's what it is, Coach Sophie. It's light. And we know that we're made of light. And we have this internal light. And I feel that my light has expanded in body, mind, and spirit because of you. And, oh, I'm so moved because of you. Thank you.
Elyse. And I'll always remember that you bring these beautiful little pieces, but the exquisite lightness of being. I think that's what I'm going to take from this call. The exquisite lightness of being. And isn't it so sad that so many women live their lives feeling just buried under the heaviness, whether it's physical heaviness, whether it's shame, blame, judgment, stress. So anyone who's watching, you can get there, and you deserve to get there. And this is the most important life work that you can do. And as you've just experienced from the short time that we spent with Elyse, it's so much more than just a diet. Well, it's not a diet. Elyse, just what would you say, just finishing up here, what would you say to somebody if you were sitting with a friend who was maybe considering booking a discovery call with me or wanted to lose weight? What would you say? What advice would you give to her?
If you feel like you are in a rut and you need to feel like you're blooming again, and just even if you start out as a bud, but you feel like you just want to grow and bloom into this beautiful flower that you are, call Coach Sophie, and I have a way for you to get in touch with her, because the foundation of this program is self-love, self-appreciation, gratitude for all of life, gratitude for everything that comes our way, good and not so good. And we learn the tools to just be ourselves, who we are, shine in the world, just exactly as we are. And all these other things we learn that we can change our beliefs and change our life, and not make meaning out of things that really don't even need to have our attention. Yeah. And so if you want, for your body, mind, and spirit, if you just want to grow and blossom and be the beautiful best self that you can be while experiencing optimal health and vitality, because that's all part of it too, I would say Ignite. I would tell everybody about Ignite, because for me, and I've said this to Coach Sophie, it was a sacred journey. And everyone's journey is different, but everyone's journey is powerful and beautiful. And we learn to love ourselves, and what more could you ask for? Just love yourself.
Thank you, Elyse. That was so beautifully said. So beautifully said. So, ladies, if anybody is on and you want to book a session, you can, there you go, book a breakthrough call. You can go to sophieuliano.com/apply and book an interview with me. And as I said, I am picky on who I work with. And just because I'm just honest, and if I think you're a good fit and you're right for this and it's a good fit for you and you're going to show up and do the work and be absolutely committed, as Elyse was, there was nothing more important then that's when you really get to change, and when you really step into it and commit to stepping into your lightness, as Elyse said, mentally, physically and spiritually. You know, we are you know, human beings having a spiritual experience, as they say. So that's what it is. So Elyse, thank you so much, my darling. Everybody who's joined us today, thank you for joining us. I'm sorry if the sound on my end, Elyse's sound, and I don't know exactly what it is, but it was a sort of strange echo, but it's not the last you're going to see of Elyse, by the way. We're having Elyse back. I've got something up my sleeve for early January. Haven't even spoken to Elyse about this yet, but we're going to have you back, Elyse. And ladies who are watching, have an absolutely wonderful, wonderful week. And I